Violent collision kills 2 people outside Tampa International Airport.
An alleged road rage attack rips 3 families apart. Tonight, we're learning about the boys who were killed.
Prosecutors are going to pursue charges against people who are texting while driving.
That's right. This DUI and murder suspect could get life in prison if convicted.
You don't think it can happen to you. It can happen to you within seconds, a blink of an eye. When you take your eyes off the road for just seconds, when you're driving your car, oh, yes, it can happen to you. See, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When the sands of time will run out within your hourglass. He was a victim of a distracted driver hitting the road while riding his motorcycle going 65 miles per hour. He nearly lost his life. Now on a crusade to help save lives and prevent someone else from becoming a victim, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com and now the host of this podcast, it's Howard Drescher.
All right, welcome. Welcome to another show of DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I am your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com, and of course now this podcast show. Many of you have been asking me on my Instagram, my tweets, or through Twitter, instant messaging, and all that. You go to your website, it's not there. No, I got rid of it probably about 2 years ago. It was just overwhelming for me to maintain it and everything like that. And I found out that more and more people were not going to my website to listen to my podcast shows. They were going to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Google Podcast at the time. So I felt for me to maintain it, it was just costing too much money, so I got rid of it. But I did keep the domain name, DistractedDBTV, or DistractedDriversBusted.com. I did keep that, so therefore that is mine, so I have no issues with that. Maybe someday along the way, once I find somebody who can assist me with basically setting up my podcast or my website again, maybe I'll dabble into it. But I just didn't have time. I was doing it like 95% myself. I would ask certain people that knew how to do websites. They'd say, "Hey, do this," and then I would mess it up. And then next thing you know, I reverted back to where it was, and then I didn't change what I wanted to change. So basically, that was just on me. But anyways, welcome to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I am your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, on Facebook, DistractedDB. And you can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. And Amazon, just type in the keyword DistractedDB. It's been, about 10 days or so since I have done another podcast. Honestly, to tell you the truth, that is my fault. I for the month of May, I felt like, I didn't want to do anything. I think I started getting kind of depressed with all the news and, hit and runs and DUIs and stuff like this. And I just got really kind of, it's just the same old song and dance. It's the same thing day in, day out. And I just couldn't escape it. I wake up in the morning and quite honestly, I watch the news, my local news out here. And the first thing I hear is there's a deadly hit and run, or there's a car that has crashed on the 405 freeway, or the 91, or the 71, or somewhere along the 5, the 405, you name the street, it's probably something that I've heard before. And it just got to the point where I was just tired of hearing it. And so I just took a break from it, and of course, most of you guys already know, in the middle of May, I don't want to say the middle of May, the first week in May was my birthday. So I just took that week off, and I just wanted to kind of like detox from all this negativity when it comes to, distracted driving. Although, I was following it on the news, and quite honestly, I tell you this each and every day, or at least every time I've done a show, I've probably mentioned this several different times, that I have enough material. I could talk day in and day out for about a month and never run out of a topic. And to me, that it just overwhelms you. Like if you find yourself being burdened by something, although you love doing what you're doing, but you just kind of, that the gas is just out of the tank a little bit, and I'm just like, I had to get myself recharged. I just kind of goofed off a little bit, and it is disappointing that I'm not maintaining the shows that I normally would do, and I'm going to try to get back to that. But I will tell you, the first week or so in July, I'm going to let you guys know that I'm scheduled for some kind of surgery. And I was scheduled for June 1st, but that got postponed for 30 days that doctors detected something. And they wanted to get a second opinion, so they're getting a second opinion. And I went to see the doctors again. So they kind of know what the game plan is now. They made me feel relaxed and stuff. But, it is kind of scary. It is kind of, having surgery isn't easy. But July 6th is supposed to be the target date, so probably the first couple of days, probably after the 4th of July show, I might have one on the 5th. And then I probably won't have one for probably about a week, maybe two, depending on how I feel. I know that I have to be home for a certain amount of time. I'm not allowed to go to work. I got to rest and heal up. Just like in any other surgery or anything like that. There's a risk. So, I kind of worry a little bit about that. But I think, I'm in good hands with the doctors. And I think God is going to help them protect me and stuff. At least I'm hoping that. I try not to worry about it because once I go, under the anesthesia, it's all up to them and, whatever happens. But I'm hoping for a quick and speedy recovery, and maybe this will help me out a little bit where I don't feel so down all the time, and I just feel like, I just don't want to do anything. And I'm sure that somewhere in everybody's life, they come across that mode of like, oh, I've had enough. I just want to take my, oh man, I just want to take my head off and kind of clean out all the garbage and put my head back on. I mean, that's a bad way to say it, but that's how I feel sometimes. And, you listen to these stories in and out, and quite honestly, to tell you the truth, it is sad, and it's just disappointing that these kinds of things happen. And I just had to clear my head. I got to clear my head every now and then. As the older I get, I feel like I just got to clear my head a little bit more and more each and every time. Some people think that I have nothing in my head that needs to be cleared. Well, that's their opinion. But it is what it is, and hopefully we'll get to it. Let's listen to a quick story. I don't want to say it's a quick story, but a story that happened last time I did the podcast show. And believe it or not, it was surprisingly overwhelming the top story of the previous week. And it comes from WDIV, and of course, it is a very good story. It's about the Representative Mary Kavanaugh when she faced her day in court. But here is the sounder first.
And now it's time for the top story from the previous show.
And the top story from the previous show definitely comes from WDIV, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. Mary Kavanaugh, Representative Mary Kavanaugh, she's a two-time offender, and as they said, she's a Democrat. She's a two-time offender for a DUI. She's 30 years old, and she's the Michigan's 10th District Representative. And a lot of people were not happy that she did what she did, but here it is from WDIV.
State Representative Mary Kavanaugh faced a judge a short time ago to be sentenced for driving drunk back in February. Let's get out live to Sean Lay, who has more on the case and Kavanaugh's sentencing. Sean?
Great to see you this afternoon, Jason. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here at District Court in Livonia. Inside, right through the doors, there is Representative Mary Kavanaugh. Her attorney says she does not want to answer questions from us, the media, but she did address the judge a short time ago. She came here, her attorney says, not knowing whether or not she would get some jail time for her second drunk driving offense. She did not get any jail time, but she is entering into a rather vigorous program. Let's take you right inside court. We're talking about Mary Kavanaugh. She's only 30 years old. She's a Democrat and represents Michigan's 10th district. That includes parts of Wayne, Redford Township, also Detroit. She pled guilty to operating while intoxicated. And in court today, this is sobriety court, she has entered into a 24-month program and attend a 12-step meeting every day for about 90 days. She is submitting to regular drug and alcohol testing, and she will be on probation and has to finish up all of these different programs. She also told the judge she is in Alcoholics Anonymous. Again, this stems back from a February 25th incident. Early in the morning around 2 a.m., driving on two flat tires and swerving, a Livonia police officer stopped her and arrested her for drunk driving. She addressed the issue to the judge a short time ago.
Ms. Kavanaugh, would you like to say anything?
I would. I just wanted to apologize to the court, to the community, and also myself of my decisions that night. But I am looking forward to using this to become a better person. And I am seeing that there is another life, and it's sober life. And I am very much looking forward to that, and even the opportunity to be granted into sobriety court.
Now, back here live, Todd Perkins is the attorney for Representative Kavanaugh. He says she taking ownership of this inside court is taking accountability and responsibility for it. We asked why she's not answering questions outside. We also asked if she is going to resign her seat in Lansing. Todd Perkins says her attorney says no, she would not be resigning, moving forward now after getting probation.
That was the top story from the previous show.
All right, that's the top story from the previous show. Representative Mary Kavanaugh is facing the judge. No jail time. Kind of surprising at that. I think the handcuffs should have been on at least, for about 30 days. That would have been nice. But I think what she should do is do a round table with a bunch of people from her area and kind of convince them not to do what she did. And maybe, that would be a good way to start it out. Just let her know, hey, what I did was foolish, and quite honestly, it doesn't need to happen, and it shouldn't happen, and I'm embarrassed myself, and of course, this state, along with the district that I represent. So therefore, let's kind of not do what I did. Let's take a cleaner path. Let's take a promising career and move forward. That's what we want to do. We would want to represent the people, not the people to look at me like I'm an idiot. That's the bottom line. So thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate it. And tell you what, quite honestly, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve you guys. All right, you're listening to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I am your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com. You can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, and of course on Facebook, DistractedDBTV. All right, when we come back, oh yeah.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Hey, there's no way you can hide it. If you drive drunk, they're gonna find you. So stop kidding yourself.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight? Sir, have you been drinking this evening?
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
They will catch you and arrest you. Drive sober or get pulled over.
All right, welcome back to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I am your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com. And, of course, now this podcast show, you can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, at DistractedDBTV, and, of course, Facebook, DistractedDB. You can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Amazon. Just type in the keyword DistractedDB. And when we talk about a distraction, there is nothing more distracting than somebody going down the road the wrong way, drunk, 2 a.m., in a well-lit area. This story here comes from Fox 5 News down in San Diego, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. But a suspected DUI driver down in the Gaslamp of San Diego, down in the Quarter Restaurants down there in the outdoor dining area. Again, it's a well-lit area, nice restaurants down there, and this driver at 2 a.m. in the morning, one, he's going the wrong way. Two, he's under the influence, and listen to the sound. And again, this comes from Fox 5 News down there in San Diego. And again, I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound.
A driver plowed into an outdoor dining space in the Gaslamp Quarter early today.
And police say he was not the only driving the wrong way, but he was also driving drunk. And the restaurant owner says it could have been much worse.
Fox 5's Jason Sloss starts us off live in the Gaslamp with that close call and a look at the damage this afternoon. Jason.
Hey there. It happened around 2 o'clock this morning right across the street. You could see some of the damage. Fortunately, at the time, the restaurant was closed. No one was hurt, but as you'll see, one pedestrian was very lucky.
A close call in the Gaslamp Quarter early Monday morning. This surveillance video showing a car wiping out a dining patio and barely missing a pedestrian outside the Opera Cafe restaurant on 4th Avenue.
The patio's lit up at night. It's bright. It's very well lit, and he just kept on driving.
The impact sent glass and debris flying all over the place. Owners spent the day cleaning up the mess.
This would have happened during the day or early afternoon or early evening, you know. It could have been a tragedy. It could have been 20 people that could have been very severely injured, and I'm just grateful that that didn't happen.
Take another look at the crash. The driver, who was arrested for DUI, was also going the wrong way as he crashed just a few feet away from a man on the sidewalk.
He didn't see the car coming up the street, and you don't expect the car coming the wrong way.
But owners say wrong-way driving is a big problem on 4th Avenue.
You've already seen today.
Today free, but every day it's a minimum 4, 5, 6 people every day, even during the daytime. There's just going up on the street.
People are going 20, 25 miles an hour, and, you know, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more severe accidents in the past.
So the Opera Cafe isn't closed. They just opened up, but the patio is out of commission. And owners say that this couldn't come at a worse time. We'll have more about that coming up next hour. Live in the Gaslamp, Jason Sloss, Fox 5 News.
And again, I appreciate Fox 5 News for allowing me to use the sound. Quite honestly, to tell you the truth, a well-lit area at 2 a.m. in the morning and you're driving drunk, how many times have I preached to the choir here? And I know that I'm preaching to the choir because people are still doing this, and they're drunk. They can't get an Uber driver. They can't get a Lyft driver. They can't call a cab. They can't call their mom. They can't call their dad, a brother, sister, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, nephew, anybody, a coworker, maybe your boss. Maybe your boss will be mad at you for calling them, but you know what? It's a chance you got to take. Or would you end up like this guy? And then you're going to miss work. You're going to get, put in jail. You're going to end up facing a judge. You can spend some time in jail. You could lose your house. You can lose your family. You can lose your life or somebody else's life. You get the point there, bozo? Stop freaking driving drunk. I'm telling all of you, if you're listening to this podcast, send this out to all the people that you know. Just send a small snippet of what I'm talking about right here, right now. It's not worth your life. It's not worth anybody's life. It's not worth your career. It's not worth your house. It's not worth your family. It's not worth anything. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. don't do anything that is moronic to where you end up getting in trouble. You end up killing somebody, your life is over. Your life is over. You might have regrets. You might have remorse later on in life, but you're going to end up regretting it and something bad is going to happen. And when it does, who's going to be there for you? Who is going to be there for you to stand beside you and say, you know, Mary or Johnny or Susie or David, they're all good people. I don't know. I've never seen them drunk before. I have never seen them act like this before. I'm so shocked. How can this happen? And then you got the grieving families. They're going to go through hell the rest of their life because they'd lost a loved one. And it could be a breadwinner. It could be somebody that is newly married. It could be an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a niece, a nephew, a brother, sister. It could be your parents. It could be somebody that you know. And yet it still continues to happen like the sunshine coming up in the morning. It's going to happen. And yet we still continue to do the stupid stuff because we are just not getting it. I think examples, and I'm not going to say it again, but I can't say it again, that we need harsher laws. I said I wasn't going to say it, but I did say it because that's what I feel. And if I feel it, that means it's the truth. Harsher laws. Get the judges, get the district attorneys to grow some balls. And if it's a female district attorney, tell her to button it up. Let's go. Let's put these guys in jail. Make an example out of a couple of these people. Put them in jail for a long period of time. They're going to go, oh, wow, this DA means business. You know, so-and-so is like the meanest district attorney you know. He's slamming everybody. 1 DUI. I'm in jail for like 6 months. Yeah, because the person you kill is not coming back after 6 months. They're not coming back after 24 hours. They're just not coming back at all. You get my point? You're listening to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. All right, when we come back, it is so insane that these things happen. Somebody who did something wrong pleads no contest. How? They've got you dead to right, but you plead no contest. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. All right, you're listening to DistractedDriversBusted.com podcast show. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to the DistractedDrivers.com podcast. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work.
Sorry, I'm late.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Now, back to the DistractedDrivers.com podcast.
All right, and welcome back to DistractedDriversBusted.com podcast show. I'm your host, Howard Drescher, the creator of DistractedDriversBusted.com, and of course now this podcast show. You can follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV, and of course on Facebook, DistractedDB. And you can get the shows on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and Amazon. Just type in a keyword, DistractedDB. Okay, so here is somebody who is probably totally distracted and has no brains when it comes to figuring out what she did. Could she have been so intoxicated where she doesn't know what's going on? We're going to find out. This story here comes from News 6 WKMG, and I've used these guys before. They're a good radio, or they're a good TV station, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound.
Now to new developments at noon. In a case in Brevard County, a woman charged with DUI for a deadly crash has pleaded no contest to the charge. The case has sparked outrage from the family of the woman killed. Norris is charged with DUI after investigators say she hit and killed Passion Lucas last June in Cocoa. Initially, officers recommended DUI manslaughter when they arrested Norris 6 months after the crash. They say her blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit, though the DUI manslaughter charge was later dropped. Today, she decided not to accept the entire offer from prosecutors, which included at least 30 days in jail. The defense called several witnesses, including a mental health counselor who treated Norris. She then took the stand to testify.
I think about passion every day. I have unconditional love for all of you, and I want somehow, some way to, help the situation.
Lucas's family members were present during today's hearing. They, of course, are upset with the investigation, adding that they want justice for their loved one. And Susanna Norris said she has just finished a victim awareness program. We'll have more updates on what happens in court starting on News 6 at 4.
All right, again, that story comes from News 6 WKMG, and I appreciate them for allowing me to use the sound. But I got to tell you, her plea in court was like senseless to me. Oh, I have unconditional love for you guys. Okay. And if there's anything that I can do to help the situation better, how about not drink and drive anymore? How about acting like a responsible adult and not plead not guilty and put your little ass in jail for a while, huh? I told you, unfortunately, the young man that you killed isn't coming back. So therefore, you should spend some time in jail. That's the bottom line. And I don't want to hear none of this, oh, I went to see a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist, or whatever. She's got issues with alcohol. She doesn't have issues with anything else. She can drink alcohol and get behind the wheel. There's a problem. That's the problem. Put her in jail for a while, 30 days behind a cooler. That will be good. Put her in a cooler for 30 days. You're good to go. The bottom line is she doesn't need to be behind the wheel. She doesn't need any more alcohol. Toughen up these people. Let's get the courts to do. And come on, the cops there or whoever's doing the investigating, step it up. If you're going to put up DUI manslaughter, stick to it. Stop being a weenie. That guy's not coming back. Do you understand? Their families are going to be suffering the rest of their lives knowing that their loved one was taken by somebody who's trying to beat the system. And quite honestly, you're trying to beat the system. It's just not a very good look. It's just not a very good look, people. All right, you're listening to DistractedDriversBusted.com, the podcast show. I do appreciate each and every one of you that download my show and follow me on Twitter at DistractedDBTV. I appreciate it. I want to thank each and every one of you. And if you could do me the favor, if you can do me this favor, take not only this show, but the previous show, and give them to somebody that you know that has an issue. Tell them about my show. Just tell them, listen to the last 2 episodes. That might wake them up. Until next week, remember, don't plead no contest if you're guilty as hell. We'll be back next week.